Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, my new best friend, Gregg Gardiner. Hi, Greg.
Hi.
And I'm Scott Hammond on the 100% Humboldt podcast. Good to have you.
I don't know about new best friend, but friends for a long time.
Friends for a while. Hey, Gregg Gardiner, tell us your story. How'd you get to Humboldt, and who are you? What are you about? And then we'll talk. I think we're going to talk about Toys for Tots today.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're talking about Toys for Tots. But I'll answer your question. A little over 20 years ago, there was a opportunity to buy a publication here, and I was at a turning point where looking for something else to do, and came and took a look at it and fell in love with Humboldt County. It is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
And so came over and we started a publication called 101 Things to Do. We bought an existing publication, changed it over, and ended up having visitor publications up and down the coast. And it's been a great opportunity for me not only to fall in love with Humboldt, but all of Northern California. It's a beautiful place to live.
Oh, man.
It's a beautiful place to visit, and it's a wonderful place to tell people about.
Yeah. What do you like about Humboldt specifically?
Well, when you look at all the things that are available here, it's pretty incredible. I mean, you have the bay and you have the Pacific Ocean. Start with that. I mean, that's
good.
That's a winner. And you have these incredible mountain ranges that just add so much to the landscape.
Yeah.
And then throw in 6 raging rivers and some phenomenal, unbelievable redwood trees.
Yeah.
And you have magic.
And some people that are salt of the earth.
Oh, there's wonderful people here.
Maybe like you and me, or at least you.
No.
So I haven't really asked this. Where'd you go to school and where'd you grow up? And when you said come over, did you come over from Hawaii?
Well, I was born in San Francisco, grew up in Illinois, and went in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
After the Marine Corps, I started doing, like many entrepreneurs, many different things before I found my niche. And ended up in the publishing business in Hawaii for a little over 20 years, and had some opportunities to work in community service. That's one of my things I like to focus on is giving back to the communities.
Yeah.
And so did that there and moved here and have worked in community service here as well, donating my time and whatever ability I have. And of course, Toys for Tots is part of that evolution. I've been involved with Toys for Tots now for 18 years.
Not so fast with the segue. I see where that was going.
Yeah.
But real quick, thank you for your service in the Marine Corps, but thank you for your service helping Humboldt heroes. I couldn't have did much of what we've done for 8 years without your help and your team and your expertise, and certainly the Marine Corps, the local Marine Corps cadre, which is the reserve.
There's a Marine Corps League here. Yeah. There's no Marine Corps reserves or anything like that. You got to get down south to be able to find guys that are actually still wearing the uniform.
Gotcha. But you guys are like as one. Whenever there's a Marine being recognized as a hero, the whole team seems to show up.
Well, the Marines, I think, have a what's the right word here?
Culture?
Well, it's a culture, but it's more than that. It's more than a community. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
That I think many of the other services have to a degree, but not to the same degree.
Yeah.
The Marines are steadfast in their support for each other, and unlike other branches of the Marine Corps or other branches of the service, you're a Marine for life.
Yeah.
So you're not a former Marine, you're not a past Marine. You can be a Marine veteran, or you're a Marine, but you are a Marine.
You're going to be a Marine for a while.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. Once you sign up, you get all the goods.
Gotcha. So are you a dad, a grandpa?
I am a dad, and I am a grandpa. My son has five kids, and then again we have a second marriage, and so my wife Kathy has 2 kids, which I consider mine as well. So.
Sure, that's great. Where's your son live?
My son lives in Arizona, right in a little place called Goodyear, and he's an IT guy. And my daughter lives in Erie, Pennsylvania, and she's a teacher.
A little farther to go see her.
Well, we're spread out.
Yeah. No, community service, I think, is your middle name. I've seen you do it. I know what the IFPA was, the Free Paper Association you were part of, and I was part of the Tri-City Weekly paper here in Humboldt. A lot of people will remember that free paper, and worked for a guy named Ron Pileggi, who always spoke very highly of you and some of the inroads that you made for the small guy paper. They're not incorporated. They're not Gannett. They're not Giant Thompson.
Ron's a great guy, and community misses him.
Yep. Ron, shout out to Ron Pileggi. So tell us about this thing. What is Toys for Tots? Give us the history. What's the story?
Well, the story goes back after World War II. There was a major at the time. His name was Hendricks, and he worked for Warner Brothers in their public relations department. And if you really want to know the real birth, it was probably his wife, Diane. She and her friends made a bunch of toys for kids. She went to him and said, "Why don't you help me distribute these toys?"
Wow.
So sure enough, being in the reserves at the time, he and his fellow Marines decided to do that, and they distributed lots of toys throughout the Los Angeles area. And he was buddies with a guy by the name of Walt Disney. You may have heard of him before.
Disney, that rings a bell.
And they were good friends, and Walt Disney drew our Toys for Tots logo that you can see right here.
Wow.
That is Walt Disney in 1948 and still using it to this day.
How about that? It's iconic.
It is iconic, and it's a great logo. And so a few years later, the Marine Corps adopted this as a national program and started to roll it out to various communities where Marines were to share the joy of Christmas, to make sure that children had the opportunity to experience the same magic at Christmas time that you and I did growing up, being able to open up a toy. Yeah. And it's a real meaningful point in a child's life, to have something at Christmas time. And it's also meaningful for their parents who, are struggling and may not be able to do that, to be able to interact with their child at Christmas time and be able to give them a beautiful gift. It really is magic. And so that's part of it. We also believe that that's going to, help make them a better part of society as well. Imagine waking up on Christmas morning and not having anything and what that would be like for you. Yeah. Just right then at that moment, it's devastating, but it doesn't get any better when you go out and you're talking to your friends in the playground and what did you get, Scott? And Scott says, or he makes up a story because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. That's right. And you carry that with you your whole life. And we believe it's an opportunity to help fix some of those problems and to help children enjoy the beautiful Christmas spirit and Christmas time.
I love it. Well said. So, how are the toys collected and how are they distributed?
Well, those are great questions. Going back to 1948, so it started there, and then over the years, the program has grown across our great nation, and now there's 830 coordinators just like me across our country, delivering over 23 million toys across our nation.
Wow! And you're the coordinator for Humboldt County.
I am. There are different size coordinators. There's small, there's medium, and large. We're considered large. There's extra large, and then there's jumbo. Jumbo would be like Atlanta, where they're doing 200,000 kids. Last year, and we have two programs, but in our main program, we did over 8,000 kids. In our Native American program, we did an additional 2,000 kids. So we do a little over, almost, by the time we put both together, about 11,000 kids. Wow. And the program has grown. When we started off, when I took over the program as coordinator, we had 367 kids. So it's grown a bunch. But many of those early volunteers are still with us today. Back in the mid-'80s, a guy by the name of Bob Gooch, who is, you may have met Bob.
I know Bob.
Bob is a retired gunnery sergeant and also retired from Sheriff's Department.
Shout out to Bob Gooch. Hey, Bob.
So Bob and his wife, Nancy, Bob was here on recruiting duty at the time. He came back home, and a fellow friend of his who was a motorcyclist had collected some toys and brought them to Bob and said, "Will you help hand them out?" Bob didn't know about the Toys for Tots program at that time, but he quickly learned. And as he learned, the program grew. And then, of course, Bob got transferred. And program was, sort of dormant for a while. And then the Marine Corps League took it over and did a little bit. And then I came along, a few years later and around 2005. And I've been involved in the program since 2005.
Quick aside, were you part of Honor Flight too, taking World War II vets back to?
One of the most wonderful things I've ever had the privilege to be involved with. Steve Justice and I co-chaired Honor Flight, and we took about 400 veterans back to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials that were created in their honor. And we've done the World War II and Koreans, and we're looking at trying to get it started again for the Vietnam vets if we can get Honor Flight National to support us.
That'd be great. Yeah. No, I was the Marine Corps League also involved in that?
Well, as were so many members of our community. Yeah. You can't do anything like that unless the community comes back and supports you. And the community overwhelmingly supported that effort.
That thing was amazing.
So
yeah, good on you guys for doing that. So
it was our honor.
So I have a Toys for Tots story. We had a lady come in yesterday from Masonic, and she, on behalf of all the gals in there, I forgot the Camellia cadre. Anyway, they brought in half a dozen toys, and she was putting them in the barrel very carefully and wanted to make sure that we understood where those came from. And I couldn't have thanked her more. And it's just heartwarming to be part of the team, be part of the cycle. So let's talk about that. So distribution of barrels. So we have a barrel and a coin can, which I wanted to bring my can in here, but for a prop to show what those look like, so that people would know where to put the money. But so those are distributed. Tell me more.
Well, the program has grown to such a level, it takes all kinds of different things to make it work, to make sure that we don't have to wake up on Christmas morning knowing that someone who needed a toy didn't get a toy.
Sure.
So that's always been a concern. And in our early days, there were some of those mornings, and those are just gut-wrenching things. You work real hard and can't do it. As we picked up sponsors along the way, we've been able to do that. Some years back, we have a lot of wonderful sponsors. I'll just name a few of them.
Please do.
But our main sponsors is Blue Lake Casino and Blue Lake Rancheria. Arla Ramsey initially saw our program and wanted to get behind it, and they've been behind it ever since that. And so they've helped us in so many ways. One of the great things about Toys for Tots is if you donate to Toys for Tots on a national level, 97% of the money that people donate actually goes to buying a toy.
That's amazing.
3% goes to fundraising expenses. No percent goes towards salaries.
Wow.
No percent. But here in Humboldt County, that 3% is picked up by Blue Lake. So if you donate money to us in Humboldt County, first of all, it stays here to be spent here for kids that live here.
Wow.
And second of all, every dollar, 100% of it goes towards buying a toy. So there's no overhead at all here that's done by that, because Blue Lake Casino has been so gracious and so generous to do that for us. And they've just been a wonderful partner.
That's so cool.
We're also blessed to have a great partnership with Green Diamond. They give us a warehouse space throughout the year. So again, with Blue Lake's help, we're able to buy some toys and, in late February and March, for, 20 or 25 cents on the dollar, because
they're on sale.
They're on sale. And so because of the great people at Green Diamond Resource Company, we have a place to keep them. And the Christine and Jalmar Berg Foundation have been huge supporters. And there's a list goes on and on of folks that have supported us. Recology, Murphy's Market, Humboldt Moving and Storage this year jumped in. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Humboldt Cal Poly.
Cal Poly on there, yeah.
They had a basketball game where the admission was a toy.
Wow.
And Santa Claus was there this last weekend. And of course, we've had Rotary, who's been involved from the very beginning. Eureka Natural Foods, Hillfickers.
Call out Tracy Day. I see her on your list.
Tracy Day as well.
Shout out
you
to
bet.
Tracy Day.
A lot of folks have been out there helping us. Coast Central has been a great supporter.
Oh, they're great.
Schaefer's Hardware, Jack and his team, Jack Rickey and his
Great
team
guy.
have been great. And of course, McKinleyville Ace, Kevin has been incredibly good to us. Picky, O&M Supply. And the list just goes on and on and on.
Sure.
And we couldn't do this program without them. But we also couldn't do it without, small individuals too. It takes that village. I'll give you a quick story, just a segue if you like.
Sure, go for it.
So last year, of course, we had the experience with the Grinch who tried to steal Christmas.
Yeah, retell that story because not everybody might remember or know that story.
Well, it was around December the 8th or thereabouts. It was a Friday night that this thief broke into the warehouse facility where we're at and stole a truck from White Church Construction and used a bolt cutter to gain access into the warehouse and used our forklift to load up a semi-load and off he went crashing through the gate.
Wow.
And incredible police department that we have, and the sheriff's department got behind it along with Humboldt County Drug Task Force and
found him.
Well, we didn't know about it. We didn't report it till Sunday. Or till Saturday. But by Monday night at 5:00, they had apprehended him. So, they went after it. They had 16 officers involved to try to catch the Grinch who tried to steal Christmas. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, there wasn't a lot left to collect. Those guys have a wonderful distribution network, better than most retail stores. They can move stuff pretty
Crazy,
quick.
yeah.
So, anyway, so there was a lot of publicity about the Grinch that tried to steal Christmas from these kids, and our community just came together.
Shout out.
Oh my gosh, how wonderful!
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so one of the folks who works so diligently with the John Berg Foundation, who've been contributor of our program in the past, came and asked me if I had some time, and of course I have time for all of our sponsors.
Sure.
That's what I do between October and December. Of course I got time. So she comes up the stairs and presents me with an incredible check. And
really,
my gosh, I could hardly talk.
Your jaw was dropped.
To fill all that stuff
Probably
up.
crying.
There was a tear.
Yeah.
There was a tear.
Absolutely.
And so juxtapose that to about 2 days later, a guy comes and he's knocking on the door. You've been to my office.
Sure.
And he doesn't come up the stairs, so it's hard to hear him, but bang, bang, bang. He's not letting go. So I happen to go down there, and here's this gentleman who's obviously down on his luck. He's got holes in his jeans, and they're not designer jeans.
Yeah.
I like the
distinction. Yeah.
And he says, I want to do something for Toys for Tots. And he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a wrinkled $20 bill. And he gives that $20 to me. And I says, the spirit of Christmas is alive within you. And I'm so gracious and I so much appreciate this donation.
Thank you.
And he says, thank you. And I said, but you know what? I really want you to take this $20 bill and I want you to go down, our office is on Myrtle Avenue, down to Murphy's Market, and get yourself some lunch, and just know that you've done a wonderful thing this year and it's a great thing. And he looks at me with tears in his eyes and points to the heaven. And he says, what you don't know is when my mother was raising us, we had nothing. And my mom got toys from Toys for Tots.
Wow.
And you have to let me give you this $20 bill.
Yes, you do.
So that's the spirit and the joy of Christmas. And it's part of why people want to give, because they want the next generation that's growing up, to have the same kind of experiences and joy that we have.
Sure.
And that's just one of the examples. There are other great examples too of giving and sharing. And I'll share another one since I'm on that story.
You got another story?
So we're at, we do these places where we have, we hand out the toys to the parents. Part of our deal is that the parents have to come in and select the toys for their kids. And our cadre of volunteers is huge. And we have over 150 volunteers that in different spots of our program work, whether they're collecting toys at Target, whether they're picking up the boxes, whether they're working in the warehouse, or whether they're at the distribution center where the parents come in and get the toys. The reason for that is we want the parents to have some skin in the game.
Sure.
We want them to be able to select the toy that they think is right for their kid, rather than us just give their kid a toy. They actually get to select those toys and those gifts for their kids. So put yourself in one of those distribution sites now, and we'll run, a couple thousand people through these distribution sites, particularly the McKinleyville site that covers McKinleyville and Arcata, and the Eureka site. And we're getting towards the end of the third day, where we're distributing those toys, and we're down to our last Tonka truck, the last one.
The very last Tonka.
And there are two moms that are going for the Tonka truck. One relatively large black woman and one super thin Asian woman. And the black lady gets there before the Asian woman does. And she puts her big arm around that toy and she's got it. And the Asian lady doesn't say a word, not a word. She just stands there. And after about 15 seconds, the tears just start to roll down her eyes. She was you could tell, sometimes you just get thrown curves in your life that you just can't figure out, right?
Amen, brother.
And this for her, you could just tell was like almost the last straw. Oh my gosh, I can't even get my son, the gift that, that he would like. We all saw this. We all saw this. And that rather large, wonderful black lady saw it too. She took that truck and she handed it to that woman, and she says,
Love it.
My son probably could use something else this Christmas. I think this belongs to your son.
Nice.
And there's stories like that, Scott, all the time. There's just something about the goodwill in people that shows and shines. And gosh, I've had the opportunity to see that. And part of it is our community. I will say that. I don't think there's a more giving community, more caring community anywhere I've lived. But it goes down from the top, from some of the the most significantly important people in our community to some of the most impoverished. And it's about the joy of giving.
I love it. That's well said. So walk us through the toy cycle in terms of how you just didn't start this machine up 2 weeks ago. This goes all year long. So maybe on a calendar basis or a timeline, how when the buckets are distributed, the barrels, the distribution, and then kind of walk us through the circle of time.
Well, good question. We've been doing it long enough now that we've made connections in many, many places that have helped us be able to identify great deals on toys in the first quarter of the year. So I'll go to there's a discount show, and it's called the ASD show, and I'll go there and I'll buy toys at 25 cents on the dollar.
Perfect. Is that Vegas or somewhere?
It happens to be in Vegas. Yeah, it's called the ASD show. And it's where the stuff that didn't sell last year goes.
Okay.
That's where it goes. And it's not just toys. They have other things as well. But of course, I'm focused on toys. Well, I don't have any money at that point, at that time of the year. I haven't raised any money, right?
You're broke.
I'm broke, so I go in there. But we've been so blessed, to have established these great relationship with some of these vendors and wholesalers that they'll actually hold out stuff for us to have me look at and give us first shot. And then carry us until we collected enough money to pay for it.
So you pay the bill.
So it's been a wonderful thing, and of course, Blue Lake has helped with his incredible amount with what they've been able to do to help us as well be able to do that. So over the years, the toys we were able to give more toys and nicer toys than we were back 18 years ago when the program started. So, so that's great. And also, our mainstay volunteers, we're all over 70.
Wow.
There's 3 of us that are Marines, 2 retired Marines, and me. And then Bob Gooch's wife, Nancy, has been part of the program, and they work tirelessly in the warehouse all year long. So, I mean, when I say all year long, I mean, they're talking thousands of hours that they donate of their time as well, and the program just wouldn't exist without their kind of love and dedication.
Nice couple. They're great.
They're wonderful. We
You're
lost
over,
a couple
over 70?
Huh?
You're 70?
Yeah, 75.
Unbelievable. I thought you were 60.
We lost a couple of great people this year that helped us out a lot. A guy by the name of Alan Mann. Alan Mann, just a great guy. Worked in our warehouse diligently and unfortunately. And his wife, Karen Mann, ran was our volunteer coordinator.
Alan's a nice man.
And so
she's terrific.
Yeah. So she took time off to help us and to help him. And of course, and then one of our Marines, Jose Gonzalez, his wife, Mary Jo, said she'd take over. Well, wouldn't you know it that unfortunately one of the tragic things this last year was that Jose also came down with cancer, and we lost those guys within a month of each other.
Wow.
And both really dedicated people to our program. And the lesson out of that is that, we're not here forever. We're just not.
Yeah.
And I think my mom said it best. She says, when it's your time and you get up to the pearly gates and you're talking to St. Peter, just make sure you made this world a little better place than you found it. And certainly those 2 guys made it a lot better place, and they're very missed. And they've helped thousands and thousands of kids. So love them both and miss them both.
Yeah.
So we buy toys, and the toys come in, and they go to the warehouse that Green Diamond has given us. Our team goes in and breaks down those toys and separates it by age and gender, so we know what we have. And
so there's a system that pre-exists for years.
Yep.
As to know how to sort this stuff.
Well, I think part of it is, from a logistics point of view, both Bob and Bill had a big part of that when they were in active duty service in our Marine Corps.
They did, yeah.
So they developed that system. I can't take any credit for that.
Sure.
That's all those guys. Well, anyway, so the toys come in throughout the year, and we're able to buy those, and then starting in October, we start putting out the Toys for Tots boxes that you see everywhere. We have 100 locations, where those boxes are across our vast territory, and signage and so forth, that kind of stuff. And then we also have sites where we'll have volunteers out, interacting with the public. You'll see them at Target, and you'll see them at Costco.
Okay.
And you'll see them out with this sign that says "Help a child get a toy."
Where they sell toys, they could bring and drop a toy.
That's the concept.
The idea.
They can drop a toy, or they can contribute in cash, or they can drop a check, or they can donate online. We have all ways you could do that.
Let's talk to that. So if I whip out my Visa card right now and here's my Chase card, can you run a card and take money?
Right now.
Right now.
Give me that card.
Here. This guy's fast.
So the concept, the program is phenomenal. It's run through Toys for Tots, the national program. But,
Gotcha.
but all the money that's comes from Humboldt County stays in Humboldt County for Humboldt County kids.
Gotcha.
So it's not going somewhere that you don't want it to go. And it's pretty special. It's a great program.
So more forms of currency, real quick. Cash is okay.
Cash is okay. Checks are okay.
Checks.
Donate online, or you can always donate a toy.
And then there's
and we want you to donate a toy. I want to tell you one other thing about that toy, though, because I had this situation a couple of times that's developed. So I've had people say to me, well, it's part of their family tradition to go out and shop for a toy for a kid. And so they say, well, maybe you could buy it cheaper than I can. So I want to talk about, let's just hypothetically talk about that Tonka truck. Or it could be anything, though.
Sure.
And so maybe I could buy it at 25 cents on the dollar. But that family that went out and thought about that child, spent the time, bought that toy, talked about the meaning of Christmas, and bring that toy and put it in our box. I got to believe that one Tonka truck has love attached to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just has love attached to it. So it depends on what's right for you.
Yeah.
Again, it's that spirit of giving. And however we get it, whether it's an individual toy or whether it's a contribution, it's the intent behind it. It's the spirit behind it that makes it works.
Yeah.
And we're happy, of course, to take the donations and stretch those donations as far as we can. And frankly, we couldn't do the program without it.
Yeah.
But it takes that combination. It takes that combination of that $20 bill that we got from that guy that was homeless, or an individual toy, or a large donation that we get from the Christine and General Milberg Foundation or Blue Lake Casino and Rancheria. It takes that combination. Every quarter is important. Every dollar is important. Everything counts. And we make sure that everything gets used appropriately.
That's great. That's great. And it stays here. So let's come back to the arc of, so you've been donating, you shopped in Vegas, they're warehoused. Now we're fundraising through the summer months. The barrels are distributed, and then take us home. What's the rest?
Well, so then we start collecting the barrels, the barrels, the boxes. They're boxes now.
That'll be next week or two, closer to Christmas.
Yep. Yeah. But we start distribution is already started. So because our territory is so big, we have actually 14 different places where we distribute toys to. It's really difficult, for example, if you live in, for example, Wichipec,
sure,
to come into Eureka to pick up your toys.
A long ways.
Yeah. So we put distribution centers that are close to, towns and villages throughout our whole territory to make it reasonable on the parents and not cost the parents a bunch of money.
Right.
And in all those different locations, we have volunteers that are there to help the parents get those toys, set up so the toys up so that there's a selection for the parents, but also, to help the parents zone in on what's appropriate for their individual child.
So they kind of concierge this thing a little bit.
They do.
Yeah.
And this weekend, you're welcome to come by and take a look at what we're doing in our in the McKinleyville Shopping Center. It's pretty amazing, really. They check in. We work also with the Humboldt County Office of Education and all of the schools. And the schools have the ability to go into a secure website, and they can put the parent's last name and the age and gender of the child, so we know what to take to each place. There is no litmus test for what makes a child eligible.
Yep.
We say free or reduced lunch, but the schools know if a family's having a hard time, they can see that stuff. So they send out a message to the parents, and they let the parents know, okay, Toys for Tots are coming on. Do you want to be involved? And then if the parents say yes, then the schools can enter them, or they can, along with any other children that they may have at home that fit within our age category, which was 0 to 13. We also reach out to all the social service agencies.
Oh, good, yeah.
Whatever they are, to make sure that if they need something, we're there for them. We have another program that reaches out to parents that happen to be involved in maybe rehabilitation. Maybe it's drug or alcohol or something like that, and they're in a program.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that those parents have a gift when they get to see their kids on Christmas Day to keep that bond going.
The recovery community, yeah.
We work with the foster parents to make sure that those kids get toys.
Love it.
I don't think there's any, and I'm probably missing some of the, one of the most fun days I had was just yesterday.
What happened?
So for years, for over a decade, we've been working with Glenn Paul School.
Yep.
And
Love
Glenn
it.
Paul School is a school that takes care of severe and profound children with disabilities.
Yep.
And they're a fabulous school. And the school's secretary, a gal by the name of Jean Sheldon, has been working with us for years. We came up with the program a little bit, about a decade ago, and that was that the school teachers for those particular kids would actually go online to a special vendor that we have called Discovery Toys, who makes rugged, sort of STEM toys, but you can get it from a low level to a high level depending on where you are. And they work through that catalog and they buy the toys specifically for that child's ability. And for example, a severe autistic kid, you may not want to get him a drum set that's going to put him over the edge.
Sure.
So they know the right gift to give them. Well, anyway, yesterday, Santa Claus came to Glen Paul School, and Santa Claus handed out the kids toys. And, it's just a special moment. It's a special moment. You know,
that's great.
The kids' eyes light up, and
I can imagine.
And they have so we those are the kind of programs that we do to make sure that we have reached the community.
I got a program for you when we're done here. I'll let you know.
Good.
My son goes to H-CAR. He did go to Glen Paul, and they're a bunch of really special folks. And so these guys appreciate it like nobody's business.
Well, they do.
Yeah, because their hearts are super pure.
We also now do the same thing with Early Beginnings. It's another program that, they try to, if a child has some learning problems or some issues, they try to identify it early. And so
I have a question. So you've identified all these audiences and the needs and those that can get you to the need. Can people walk on, or is it invite only? Are there people that could, with a need, that showed up and get a toy for their kid?
Well, so when you have a program this big, and you have distribution points, throughout the region, you got to kind of know what they need so you can have the toys there.
Yeah,
we've never said no. We've never said no. The one thing that we do try to keep is we do try to keep a handle on what we call double dipping.
Yeah,
and so people might sign up under 2 or 3 different programs. Our software, catches most of those. Some get through.
Sure.
We're not the toy police.
Right.
And if the worst thing in the world happens at Christmas time, if some kid gets a few extra toys,
would be the end of the world.
Life is not bad.
Yeah.
This is not bad. This is the kind of problem you want to have.
It's a universe of abundance. Yeah.
It's a but. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
I like the way you think.
So distribution, you get all the barrels. So will these that are gathered toward the end of the year, will some of them go into next year to the warehouse? Or
not much.
So they're going to be busy elves for the next week or so.
There's a slight bit of carryover, but not much. And we'll talk about the literacy program too if we have time. But
sure.
So what happens is so they'll come into our distribution center. Let's say this weekend in McKinleyville. They'll come in and we'll have their name. And we'll know who their kids are. They come in, we register them.
Sure.
We have a little slip of paper that's filled out that says age and gender, and it's 0 to 3 and 4 to 7 and so forth. And as they check in, we'll check off their kids, and we'll actually have a volunteer that will shop with the parent.
That's great.
And take the parents to the section where the toys are for that particular kid.
Wow.
So a gift for a 3 to 5-year-old is one thing, but a gift for a 13-year-old is something else.
Yep. To
make sure that we're fulfilling the right gift for the right age and gender of that child.
Absolutely.
And so you'll see, lots of volunteers. Collectively, we have over 150 volunteers.
Wow.
Throughout the program. 150 volunteers. It's really incredible.
I just think of logistics, though. So you get it for the warehouse at Green Diamond and get it out to McKinleyville. That's schlepping a lot of toys.
Well, this year, we're blessed to have people in the community that help us. This year, just to move toys, we're blessed to have Bettendorf Trucking, who comes in with their semis, and we load their semis up, and they take out toys for us. We needed to get toys down to Mendocino and a little bit into Lake County, some Native American kids in Lake County. And John Gregg from Humboldt Moving and Storage jumped up and said, yep, I got that.
Shout out to John.
We needed to get some stuff over to Weaverville, to the Lions Club over there, who does our distribution over there. And Furniture Design jumped up. Jay and his team jumped up to deliver those toys.
Way to go, Jay.
And the list goes on. Trucks donated to us from Schaefer's, who's helped us who gives us trucks to use. Elk Valley Nursery, Pete at Elk Valley Nursery has given us trucks.
When you say Elk Valley, so you have some distribution in Crescent City.
Yes, we do. Up through Del Norte County.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of need up there.
There is. Yeah. There's no shortage of need.
We're not running out of the need.
We're not running out of need.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of economic pressure on people, particularly in California. We have, this is not a political statement, but we have high taxes.
Gas prices.
We have high gas prices.
Housing.
We have high housing prices. We have high food prices. We have all that stuff. And so
that's just fact.
It is if you're living on a limited income, you have to make some decisions about what it is you're going to buy or not going to buy. And many times that's really heart-wrenching for many folks.
Sure.
And imagine what it is if you're in that position and it's Christmas time and there's just no money to buy those toys. And I'm just grateful. I'm honored that we're able to help those families.
I love it.
In our community, the community that we all love.
Yeah, I love it. So the distribution happens, people get their toys, and you do it all over again.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. I think if we switch to just one topic, one of the things that we do need to look towards in the future for this program is we need some help. Like many of the nonprofits and organizations like us, social civics organizations, the next generation that normally steps in is so busy working, raising their kids and family, and under the same economic struggles that we just talked about earlier, Scott, that it's difficult for them to volunteer. And it worries us. It worries us because the program, and we talked about our own mortality.
Yeah.
The program needs to live beyond our mortality.
Yeah.
It needs to go to that next generation. And so folks that are interested in, there's so many opportunities to volunteer and become a part of our program. From the simple thing like collecting a toy in front of Costco to help picking up the boxes that are spread across our region full of toys, to working in the warehouse, to administrative help, to fundraising help, to public relations help. There just is so many opportunities out there for folks to work.
So call you, you'll find somebody a job.
Well, there's no shortage of opportunities.
Sure.
No shortage of opportunities.
So tell us how to do that. What do you, is the same website, the same site we can volunteer and give money? And why don't you do the shout out on that stuff?
You can do all of that on our website. It's toysfortots.org, and you'll drill right down to us. So the first thing is you want to find out, where's my community? The first thing comes up state and California, and then the next thing, all the counties come up. You click on Humboldt, and everything is there. Whether you want to request a toy or whether you want to donate a toy or you want to volunteer, everything's there.
Nice.
But there's also, you can just pick up the phone and call me, 707-834-9595.
834-9595.
Yep. We'll find a place for you.
834 per bucket. That's what Steve Justice used to say.
Yeah, I love Steve Justice.
822 per bucket. I'm going, how do you do that? So let's do hard stop. Break. Ready? Greg, you get to do the quiz I know you don't take gifts usually, but you're going to take one of these because Kathy might really like it. It's a Ginger Snap Melt Chocolate Dick Taylor bar, folks. Right here. Ready? Question number one. You get to go anywhere with Kathy for dinner. Where do you go in Humboldt County?
Well, that's an impossible answer.
Let
me
name three.
Oh my gosh. We have so many great restaurants. We have so many great restaurants, and I love them all. I wouldn't put one above another because I wouldn't, and I do go out to them, and I really love them all. And so my answer would be, we have so many restaurants in Humboldt County that it's really hard to choose because they're all so fantastic.
Okay, good call. Number two, you decide you want to have a cocktail just randomly. Like, where would you go for a cocktail?
Well, there's so many great bars in Humboldt County. So many great bars.
Why did I know
so many great places to go. And I've seen you at a few of them, and we've been able to share a happy hour drink or two. And I think, the thing about going out to eat and the thing about going out and having an adult beverage with friends, I think there's a relationship that develops.
That's right.
And that relationship comes to play when you need things. Whether they need something as friends or anything, you want to be there for them and all the rest, and you find out about their families and
comfort. It may be comfort.
You got to do all of that stuff, and so I think that's the main joy we get out of that, and we have a lot of wonderful establishments. And no, you're not going to get me to name one over the other.
Well, let's go with something more innocuous. Where do you go for a day with Kathy out outdoors, Humboldt? Where would you go on that great map over there?
Well,
what do you guys like to do?
We're blessed because for a couple different reasons, we live in an unbelievable area that has just blessed by the hand of God. Frankly, it has.
Sure.
And being involved in the publishing business for years, we've had the opportunity to find all the little nooks and crannies that are out there.
You've seen it all.
We've seen it all. We've enjoyed it all, and we still do. I mean, and again, it's not that I'm trying to avoid the question.
No.
It's just that how do you put one unbelievable, wonderful thing over another?
You can't. Yeah, there's no way.
I mean, you got the trees, you got the Pacific Ocean. You got incredible mountain range. You got raging rivers.
Just for the record, either you're really flying through this test really well, or you've not answered any questions. I think he's doing great.
Good.
So let's wrap and we'll do the shout outs in just a minute. What would you and this is counter to what you've asked, but what would you like us to say about you at your memorial? What's your legacy? What's your tombstone? Just maybe briefly.
I think my mother said it best when we were growing up. She said, when you get up to see St. Peter, just leave the world a little better place than when you found it.
It's a good word. I was gonna counter that earlier. So you've brought it back up. Joni's father said, "No one gets out of here alive." So that was a little bit more pithy.
Well, he's right. Mortality faces us all.
It's pretty much 100%. Yeah.
And when we're gone, I mean, our families will remember us and all the rest. But if you go out in the cemetery and you're taking a look, there's guys that have been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
And individually, they get lost, in history.
Yeah.
They just do. But the things that they did in their life can carry on and make a difference. And that's one thing we think that Toys for Tots can do, and other things can do that. By giving back to your community, you're promoting your legacy.
Yeah.
You may no longer be attached to it, but the guy upstairs knows.
Yeah.
He knows that you did your part. And that's what we're all here to do, is do our part.
I like that. And when you do that in a team environment, you can really make an impact, whether it's Honor Flight or Toys for Tots. And so parting shot, how do we get a hold of you guys again? And how do we get a hold of you, and let's Toys for Tots. So just for repetition, go, Gregg.
Toysfortots.org. Easy to find us, easy to find Humboldt County. Drill in, tell us what you want to do, and we'll be there for you. You can always call me at 707-834-9595. There's opportunities all year long for those folks that are interested. All you have to do is give us a shout out, and we'll find a place for you. The organization needs you. The organization will appreciate you. And one thing that you'll get if you do volunteer for us is when you wake up on Christmas morning and your eyelids open up, you'll be able to have a smile on your face, and you will know that you helped a deserving child. There's not much better feeling than that.
Love it, man. Giver's gain. I'm going to close the show and then thank you. Thanks for watching, listening. Scott Hammond, 100% Humboldt on all the podcast platforms. Do you know we're on Access TV?
I do now.
You do. You do now. YouTube, and thanks to Nick Flores, the producer, magnifique. Please repost, share, subscribe to us, tell your friends, and I forgot to award your chocolate. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, for my new best friend, and thank you for coming. And you passed the quiz with radiant colors. A Dick Taylor Ginger Snap chocolate bar for the holidays.
Thank you. And I have one last thing to say.
Oh, I do. You would.
I would. So I want you to help a child get a toy.
Okay.
And on behalf of Toys for Tots and on behalf of Santa Claus, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Greg.